Copies of the curriculum vitae are attached herewith.
Pre-political party primaries dislodge 7 ministers. Aftermath of contest supplants 7. Buhari awaits Senate's endorsement.
It is because of the sensitization, and the awareness now being created more, and people are becoming, very conscious.
9 days to go. Prospective voters flood INEC registration centers. Commission widens windows to accommodate all.
The partnership with Naseni will bring in more resources dedicated to R&D that would help that project to move forward.
Plus, fight against insurgency. Nigerian military looks inward to boost arsenal. Naseni sets for manufacturing deal. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Henry John, live in Abuja. Adeola Komiakere joins me from Lagos. Many thanks for joining us. And it's good you that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to Senate seeking the confirmation of 7 ministerial nominees. The nominees are to replace those that stepped down in pursuit of their political ambitions. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Sequel to the resignation of some cabinet members in May, President Muhammadu Buhari promised to fill in the vacancies on time. Less than 2 months, the president has forwarded names of those he believes are capable of filling these ministerial positions. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, read the executive communication.
Henry Ikechukwu Iko, Abia State. Umana Okon Umana, Akwa Ibom State. 3. Ekuman Kama Joseph Nkama, Ebonyi State. 4. Goodluck Nana Opia, Imo State. 5. Umar Ibrahim Eliakub, Kano State. 6. Ademola Adewole Adegorie, Ondo State. And 7. Odum Udi, River State. Copies of the curriculum vitae are attached herewith. It is my hope that this exercise will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the distinguished members of the Senate.
Senate passed bills establishing federal medical centers in Oshobo, Ijebu-Ode, Gada and Onitsha, while the Police Pension Board establishment bill, sponsored by Senator Elisha Abu Ishaku, passed second reading.
The broad objective of this bill, therefore, Mr. President, is to bring equality, equity, and justice in the payment of pensions between the police and our sister agencies. Senators
Sadiq Umar and Aliu Sabi Abdullahi drew the attention of the Senate to what they described as worsening security situation in Kenji Lake National Park. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has appointed Minority Chief Whip Senator Philip Aduda as Minority Leader of the Senate. He replaces Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, who defected to ABGA. Senator Chukwuka Otazi is to take over from Aduda as Minority Chief Whip. 3 senators defected to other political parties: Ahmed Babakaita, Katsina North, from the All Progressives Congress to the People's Democratic Party, PDP; Lawal Yahaya Gumau, Bauchi South, from the APC to NNPP; while Francis Alimihena, Edo North, from the APC to the PDP. With this, Senate is now made up of 66 APC members, PDP 39, NNPP 2, YPP 1, ABGA 1. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted to the House of Representatives the Business Facilitation Bill for consideration and approval. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali reports.
The Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wasi, read the presidential communication, which states that the bill seeks to promote the ease of doing business in Nigeria by amending existing legislation.
While hoping that this submission will receive the usual expedient consideration of the House. Please accept the Right Honorable Speaker the assurance of my highest consideration. Yours, President Muhammad Buhari.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has resolved to invite the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission over the poor quality of some health and hygiene-related products used in homes, offices and hospitals, as it wants the Commission to justify the presence of such products in Nigerian markets. The motion from Sergio Sogu made reference to what he calls misleading advertisements of such products.
Despite the poor quality of these toilet cleaning disinfectants, there are several television-sponsored advertisements that are misleading unsuspecting members of the public who rely on such adverse product information to make purchases.
House members noted that the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is empowered by law to protect consumers and mandated Committee on Commerce to meet with the Commission on the matter. A bill seeking the establishment of National Emergency Medical Services Agency, forwarded from the Senate for concurrence, passed second reading. Also passed at second reading is the bill to establish Federal University of Science and Technology, Ramo, Ogun State, sponsored by Oriomi Onanuga. The House Committee on Interior laid 5 reports for consideration and approval, including the report of the bill seeking the establishment of a single board for the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Immigration, Federal Fire and Correctional Services. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly, President Muhammad Buhari has directed increased efforts, kinetic and non-kinetic, to safely rescue the 51 or more kidnapped railway passengers still in custody and bring the case to a closure. The Presidency, in a statement, says the demand of the kidnappers on release of their children was granted and they let go 11 of the victims, with more expected. The statement says government is making efforts to bring all of the hostages back. It also states that the defense, security and intelligence agencies have assured of intensified operational engagement to rescue all hostages and restoring peace to all parts of the country. The statement acknowledged efforts of some patriotic and influential persons and institutions helping to secure the safe release of the hostages. The statement says President Buhari welcomes the return of the recently released train passengers back to their families and loved ones, while expressing commitment to the families of those still in captivity that there will be no let-up until they are reunited within the shortest time possible. And in the meantime, the presidential media team, in collaboration with national and international consultant and coordinator of 7th anniversary of the Buhari administration, Atta Ikide, will be unveiling President Buhari's legacy projects in a series of online publications. In a statement, the team explained that the aim of the awareness is to inform, educate, engage and empower Nigerians to the notable achievements and patriotic vision of the president for the country. The first component of this social media-driven project will be the launch of Buhari's Government Has Zero projects with the hashtag Buhari's Government Has Zero projects, showcasing 1,321 underreported, completed and ongoing infrastructural projects of this administration across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, including the 774 local government areas, 8,809 wards and more than 44,045 villages and communities across the country. Teams of experts from Nigeria, Niger and Algeria have been urged to participate actively in the realization of the Trans-Sahara gas pipelines. This is as they strengthen commitments within the required deadlines to ensure the supply of the markets and a better positioning of the 3 countries in the chessboard world of energy transition and sustainable development. Lydia Sampson brings us details.
The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline will enable Europe to tap directly into the three countries' significant natural gas reserves, helping it diversify its supply sources while creating critical source of revenue for African gas market. The meeting in Abuja is coming after the countries signed a memorandum of cooperation for the reactivation of the pipelines. As a follow-up to the fruitful meeting held in Niamey in February, within the framework of the reactivation of the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project, the ministers and team of experts say upon completion, the pipeline will carry 30 billion cubic meters of natural gas yearly to Europe markets via Algeria's strategic Mediterranean coast, as well as supply inland stations along its route.
Today, gas is now a weapon of war between Ukraine and Russia. So more than ever before, our gas is needed. So this project is ready. We are ready. I think we as Africans should show the world that we can come together and build major infrastructure projects like this to signal that Africa has come of age. Because this kind of regional integrational projects are the projects that the world wants to see.
They are unanimous that natural gas is an energy of excellence, an enabler for energy transition, while ensuring the security of supply of markets whose demand is increasing by the day. The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline is a planned natural gas pipeline from Nigeria to Algeria. It is projected as an opportunity to diversify European Union gas supplies. Key players expect the project to be transformational for all the countries involved, as it will bring jobs and much needed revenue from gas monetization. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And still on energy transition, stakeholders in the extractive industry from Nigeria, Ghana and Senegal are in Abuja deliberating on issues of contract transparency, extractive resources benefits sharing and energy transition in West Africa. Benny Adams reports that the dialogue is organized by Nigeria Extractive Industries and Transparency International in partnership with Spaces for Change.
They are stakeholders in the oil, gas, and solid mineral sector. Some are policy makers, companies, regulators, host communities, and civil society. Their mission is fourfold. It is to review beneficial ownership and assess the progress made in the sub-region to implement contract transparency, energy transition, as well as inclusion of host communities in these processes.
How information and data from our reports can galvanize revenue generation, support national planning, and reduce poverty. The other issue is how implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act that has just been passed into law will be effectively deployed.
With the onerous task of making natural resources benefits work for all, they agree to identifying best and inclusive practices for improving the resilience of national economies in the face of increasing commodity price volatility around the world, while preparing for the transition to a low-carbon future.
Revenue from the solid mineral sector to the operational account rose by 54% in 2020, and it is rising to a reported total of 128 billion naira, compared to 75 billion naira recorded in 2019.
We have understood that disclosing contracts supports open, fact-based dialogue that can help build trust, reduce conflict, and reinforce a company's social license to operate.
Critical questions such as what benefits are to be shared, the sharing formula, when and how these benefits are shared, sanctions for infractions, and redress mechanisms are the many questions the dialogue is providing answers to. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Looking at other issues now, the pathway to national growth and sustainable development is tied to the creative industry. Therefore, African leaders must adequately fund the sector. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this while briefing journalists on the outcome of his trip to Cairo, Egypt, for the 29th African Bank annual meeting. Anthony Forson reports.
It's amazing that today, Nigeria fashion, Nigerian music, and Nigerian film are making waves all over the world.
The interaction is coming on the heels of the minister's trip to Cairo, Egypt, where he attended the 29th African Bank Annual General Meeting. Lai Mohammed disclosed that Africa's endowment in the creative industry is its wealth that has been ignored over the years.
The creative industry in Africa, in the words of the report of even the African Bank, is the only hope for Africa, in the sense that it is a resource which is limitless, which is renewable, which can create wealth, and at the same time and create jobs.
The sector's endowment in Nigeria alone, he stressed, has been downplayed by authors whose narratives avoid playing up the country's assets in the creative industry. While conceding that the creative industry is a self-developed sector, Lai Mohammed said government has a major role to play in a bid to sustain it for the overall interest of national growth.
Governments must invest more in infrastructure. They must build more cinema houses. They must build more event centers. They must collaborate and get us more fiber optics. They must work more to get us better connectivity. When they do all this, they'll be solving not just labor problems, because there'll be more employment, but there'll be more peace, there'll be more harmony in society.
African Bank, he disclosed, has a $500 million grant set aside to fund the creative industry, and Nigeria, he explained, is exploring avenues where Nigerians can access such funds. On the rehabilitation of the National Theatre, the minister said it is a big win for the industry, explaining that it will create 4 hubs for entertainment. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Time for a breather this day. Thank you for staying. In justifying the saying that youth's votes count, FCT, INEC and partners have commenced a massive registration exercise for residents, which will be rounded off with a mega music concert on the 26th of June. Aisha Uba Ali reports that the 5-day exercise holding at the Old Parade Ground, Area 10, is simultaneously ongoing across the 36 states and the FCT.
That was what it looked like at the INEC office last week, with the upsurge and clamor for registration. But with the 5-day exercise, all attention is now at the Old Parade Ground, where more than 50 machines have been made available to attend to PVC issues.
It is because of the sensitization, and the awareness now being created more. So, and people are becoming, very conscious to go and deliver their own responsibility.
Our contribution to this is providing them that platform and that opportunity to get on the register. And in Lagos, like Laudo mentioned, we had lots of young people who showed up. In fact, in Lagos alone, for the few days that registration held, over 11,000 people were added on the voters register for Lagos. We hope that also in Abuja, there will be more than that because of the sun.
On the speculation of extension, the resident electoral commissioner emphasized that it is a policy decision which can only be decided by the National Commission as the FCT Commission works with directives. It was also an opportunity for INEC to call on eligible voters to collect their PVCs instead of leaving them at the commission after a rigorous exercise. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
And still on electoral matters, the Buhari Media Organization has described the just concluded Ekiti governorship election as yet another proof of President Muhammadu Buhari's determination to leave a legacy of a successful electoral process. A statement by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, says the president's disposition was instrumental to the success of the election, pointing to the feat of early arrival and deployment of the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, to the extent that Yega Africa, a notable civil society group, rating INEC high. The group also hails the maturity of the PDP candidate Olabisi Kolawole for accepting that he was truly defeated in the election. BMO urged Nigerians to continue to trust in the ability of President Buhari to clean up the electoral process, in line with his admonition that elections should not be seen as a do-or-die affair. In other news, for Nigeria to meet various targets regarding water, sanitation and hygiene, including the SDGs, sub-national governments and other stakeholders must double up effort in this regard. To achieve this, water, sanitation and hygiene national outcome routine mapping WASHNUM report has been launched in Abuja. Musbao Dan Wahab reports.
It's another report to provide quality data for planning and mobilization, as well as progress on the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector. But this one is a mixed bag of setback, marginal progress and huge tasks still ahead. During the year, under review, access to basic water supply services declined by 3% from the 70% in 2019, while 46% of Nigeria's population was found to have access to basic sanitation services, as against the 44 in 2019. But ironically, despite more LGAs becoming open defecation free, the number of people still practicing open defecation has increased from 46 million people in 2019 to 48 million in 2021. COVID-19 was blamed as one of the reasons.
As we are growing, the population is also increasing. So what this shows is that the efforts we're making to reduce the figure were not commensurate with the rise in population.
The level of access to water, sanitation, hygiene in the country is still not on track to achieve the SDG 6.1 or 6.2.
With the hurdles identified, participants here believe this report provides necessary information to scale through.
The vast amount of data collected under this survey will be used for strategic, efficient, and equitable budget allocation and use for resources, devising and implementing well-targeted, effective policies and programs.
The outcome of the WASHNUM survey is another boost to improve documentation and also provide strategic direction to the efforts of the government and our implementing partners in reducing the disease caused by water-related illnesses.
And now, with COVID-19 being pushed behind, the ministry says it is ready to pick up for an improved performance. In Abuja, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
Nigeria's civil servants are set to enjoy efficient, reliable, affordable and safe transportation with the introduction of a civil service bus scheme. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemiason, while flagging off the scheme, stressed the need to put the buses into good use. Haman Jabani reports.
It will be run, first of all, on gas, CNG. Then secondly, we are not going to take cash from anybody. We have a prepayment system installed in the buses. So you buy your card, you load your card, and you tap on our payment system for you to enter the bus.
The Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation will ensure the maintenance of the bus scheme while applying for routes and using IPPIS number as a form of identification. The scheme is taken off with 20 branded buses with the plan of expansion.
The office of the head of the civil service of the Federation does not have any financial stake in the scheme. Rather, the value proposition for government is to create a transport system that is convenient.
The bus scheme is expected to reduce transportation costs for civil servants, just as improved productivity and goal attainment will be achieved. The physically challenged are not left out.
Arrangements have been concluded with the private sector operators to acquire customized buses that will be wheelchair accessible.
The scheme is being implemented in collaboration with private sector operators, and the travel cards will be made available to civil servants through their MDAs. Muhammad Jabani, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Abdullahi Bala as the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Police Trust Fund. Abdullahi Bala takes over from Ahmed Aliyu, who resigned his appointment to run for governorship primaries. Until his appointment, Abdullahi Bala was a retired permanent secretary in Sokoto State. The appointment is effective immediately. Now, every 21st of June is World Music Day. This year's World Music Day offers stakeholders in the music industry an opportunity to reflect on the importance of music and how it touches our social, cultural, economic, political, and spiritual lives. The Director General of the Nigerian Copyright Commission, Dr. John Asien, in his message to Nigeria musicians and other stakeholders in the music industry, commended their prowess in raising the bar in the global arena. The Commission renews its commitment to strengthen regulatory and enforcement framework to ensure that rights owners benefit more from the global exploitation of their works. Now looking at other news, Nigeria will soon end overdependence on foreign military hardware as the country engages engineers in local content development for made-in-Nigeria helicopters and fighter jets. Already, a strong partnership has been established between the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure and the Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna. Suleiman Rigachikun reports.
The partnership between the two agencies is in line with presidential directives for scientists and technologists to look inward to provide made-in-Nigeria goods to stop importation. Therefore, the two agencies are working towards galvanizing their know-how to produce made-in-Nigeria military hardware, especially fighter jets. Part of the synergy is the promotion of research and training for local content development in assembling aircraft and manufacture.
The impact is for the nation. The country has tried to even order for certain things abroad, and it became impossible, judging from our experience of COVID-19. So there is no country in the world that will not try to be self-reliant, especially in this essential component of our survival.
Achieving this great idea is what brought officials of these agencies for a formal handing over of space and hangar for the commencement of the Made in Nigeria helicopter project. Courses related to this program have been accredited by both National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education.
We've reached the stage we could reach with our local resources. Now, the partnership with NASENI will bring in more resources dedicated to R&D that would help that project to move forward.
Air Force Institute of Technology is strategically chosen for local content development and aircraft manufacturing in the country. Suleiman Rigachikun, NTA News.
And from Kaduna, let's now join Adeola in Lagos for more news. Adeola, let's hear you.
Thank you, Yare. The federal government is on the verge of removing the impediment that has stalled the commencement of freight services on the standard gauge of a Lagos-Ibadan rail line. Apart from ensuring that the customs building hindering the connection of trucks to terminals within the Apapa ports is removed, a deadline of July has been fixed for freight service to commence. Michael Olaleye has the details.
Getting the rail tracks to transverse the major terminals in Apapa, especially beyond this point at APMT, has been so challenging. For more than 2 years, this building, which houses the customs scanning equipment, has been a contributor to this challenge. The development is not just frustrating the contractor handling the project, who has been so desirous of completing works around the axis, but stalling the commencement of freight services on the standard gauge. The Minister of State for Transportation, Bimisola Saraki, said, considering the huge relief that cargo evacuation and delivery through rail will bring to the Apapa corridor, the process of removing the structure must be hastened under safe procedures.
It's been agreed that the building is going to be moved, it's going to be demolished. It's just minor issues of having because of the fact there's some radioactive, because it's a scanner, we just have to ensure that number one, it's done safely and it's done by the right people to come and dismantle and decommission the scanners to ensure that it's safe, and then the building itself comes down. So by the end of this month, which is another 2 weeks maximum, that this track will be operational whilst we try and solve this other issue. Even though the building looks big, it's actually a minor issue. Just by the time the Federal Ministry of Transport, NTA and Customs sit together to discuss, I'm sure we'll resolve it.
The optimism here going forward is that the minister's inspection will yield a expected result as the date for the commencement of freight services draws closer. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Nur Takaful Insurance Limited, Nigeria's pioneer composite Takaful insurance company, has announced surplus distribution of 109,846,000 naira to over 200 participants for the year 2020. Chairman of the organization revealed this at a surplus distribution event in Lagos. Hingino John Adams reports.
Your win-win insurance is Nur Takaful's slogan, and participants are having a feel of that experience with the distribution of 2020 surplus, which covers general and, for the first time, family Takaful insurance schemes. Out of the total surplus, 74,121,000 naira is for the general Takaful participants, while 35,725,000 is for the family participants.
With the options that No Takaful and other Takaful insurance companies provide to people that have certain values and of certain faith, it's now possible for us to deepen the insurance market.
Because we're the first Takaful operator to distribute surplus in Nigeria, that has gained attraction. We have shown that the model works. We have shown that we keep true to our words. We have equally shown that there's equity and fairness in our model.
Even amid economic uncertainties caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, Nur Takaful Insurance Limited has for the fourth consecutive time been consistent in distributing surplus in its general Takaful business.
The tenets of non-interest finance should attract anyone and really does not offend anyone. It means not exploiting people. It means being fair. It means avoiding ambiguity in contracts.
Some persons, because of their religious belief, they do not want to engage in anything that has to do with riba, which is called interest. So the intention of Takaful model is to give them an alternative.
Nur Takaful Insurance Limited commenced operations in January 2017 and has always maintained the principle of ethical insurance. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
That's a beat from the Center of Excellence. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The network news will continue after this break. To stay with us.
Glad to have you back. Interfaith prayers have been offered for peace, security and stability for Kaduna State and the country. The prayer session, organized by a frontline politician and one-time governorship aspirant on the platform of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Alhaji Sani Shaban, is to seek divine intervention in overcoming challenges bedeviling the country. Muhammad Baba reports.
The prayer session, attended by Islamic clerics and clergymen from the 23 local government areas in the state, is coming on the heels of insecurity, especially in Kaduna State.
اللهم نسألك الأمن والسلامة في ولايتك دون يا رب العالمين أنت ولي ذلك والقادر عليه ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
Will not be stranded in the name of Jesus. Holy Spirit of God, you have never lied. You said your word and your plans for humanity is to give them hope.
This effort is a modest contribution of Sani Sha'aban for stable and prosperous Kaduna State and the country.
Anybody who is following the trends of our political history know that whatever we do it with the conscience and the knowledge of God Almighty.
While praying for a peaceful conduct of next year's general election, Sani Sha'aban stressed the need for free, fair and credible elections. In Kaduna, Muhammad Baba, NTA News.
And away from religion, looking at humanitarian matters, the National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, NASCO, which supervises the National Social Register with support from the World Bank, is engaging stakeholders in Abuja for more sensitization and proper utilization of the data bank. Ruth Aguele brings us details.
774 local government areas, 6 area councils, 141,000 communities engaged, 11.6 million households captured, and more than 48 million individuals form the content of the National Social Register. The register, now a critical tool for identification and registration of poor and vulnerable groups across the country. A yardstick used to determine beneficiaries' eligibility for social intervention programs. This engagement with stakeholders by the National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office and the World Bank is to share ideas on how to expand the scope of the NSR.
For the National Register is the best thing that could happen to Nigeria, not only for the humanitarian sector, for any sector, whoever wants to intervene in improving the standards of life, in ensuring that people live in dignity.
So this is something that over the last, I would say, 2 decades, many countries around the world have said, look, why not have a common resource, which is this National Social Registry?
We have information that speaks to the availability of certain infrastructures, primary schools, health centers, secondary schools, banking facilities, police stations, etc.
Beyond the discuss, there is expectation that the National Social Register will be the benchmark of every poverty alleviation intervention across the country. The data bank, now a prized national asset. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Meanwhile, more youths in Bauchi State are gradually being trained and empowered by Northeast Development Commission as efforts to revive the region intensifies. Mahmoud Mohammed reports that so far, the Commission has trained 580 youths in ICT-related vocations.
This is the graduation ceremony of 200 ICT trainees by the Northeast Development Commission in Bauchi State. It is a program designed to impact relevant skills and knowledge to the youths and become self-reliant.
That, for one, will provide peace because those people who are idle will not be engaged and they'll be self-employed and even employ some other people. That will create peace on one side.
Thereafter, Mohammed Gwani presented 20 cartons of assorted drugs to Bauchi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Here, the Commission is constructing 500 mass housing units. Therefore, the Managing Director, Mohammed Gwani, is here for inspection in Bauchi. Mahmoud Muhammad, NTA News.
Now time to talk business, and Benny's here. Benny.
Thank you, Yere, and welcome to business. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, has flagged off the service-wide financial literacy in the workplace aimed at achieving financial inclusion for economic development and poverty reduction. Represented by the Permanent Secretary to the Ministry, Aliu Ahmed says the process begins with Ministry before cascading to other MDAs with a target of reaching 12,000 employees by December 2022.
Involved includes our development partners like GIZ, who have been supporting Central Bank and the Federal Ministry of Finance. These are the major stakeholders who are involved in the program. The essence is to give financial education to the target audience, who are the civil servants, in order to be able to manage their finances appropriately. And by that, you would have a critical mass of people in the country who can manage their finances effectively.
Possessing the right skills, the right knowledge about, for instance, your needs and wants, how to plan your finances, budgeting, and a list of topics that we have carefully put together in this whole package of what we call financial literacy.
And the Nigeria Economic Summit Group and German Development Agency, GIZ, are leading a public and private partnership dialogue towards strengthening the franchise industry in Nigeria and positioning it for growth. The stakeholders say franchising has proven to be a sure strategy for success in inclusive economic growth, increase in trade balance, as well as increase in foreign direct investment inflow.
Franchising could provide for business expansion, startup survival, access to finance, and generally job creation were all recognized in the report, which I've just mentioned. The report and a position paper also highlighted.
National and subnational governments must be deliberate in promoting private sector development and enabling the growth of micro, small, medium, and large enterprises.
And on the equities market, Nigeria's equities resume bullish run as capitalization grows by 180 billion naira. The all-share index appreciated by 66 points to close transaction at 51,091.75 basis points. Market capitalization stood at 27.5 trillion naira. 166.9 million shares valued at 2.7 billion naira were traded in 4,398 deals. Market breadth closed negative as livestock led 14 gainers and 22 losers, topped by Lana Freak. That is business news. Network News continues after this break.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Now time for sports, and Olumide Ekuntala is our guide.
Players of the country's under-17 national team, the Golden Eaglets, have assured football-loving Nigerians of victory when the team takes on their counterpart from Cote d'Ivoire Tuesday 4 p.m. Nigerian time at the Cape Coast Stadium in Ghana in one of the semi-final matches of the ongoing CAF Under-17 African Cup of Nations WAFU B qualifiers. In the tournament so far, the Unduka Ogbade Tutok side has scored 7 goals, while their opponents have scored 10 goals.
It's very important to grab our ticket to Algeria for the AFCON Assembly. It's going to be a perfect win for us. It's all we've been told. It's going to be a tough match, and we have to do our best to make Nigeria part of us. And I'll do as much as I can to score goals. Like every single time, like that time, they brought me from the bench, and I did my best to score a goal.
Still on football, 9-time African champions Nigeria Super Falcons are scheduled to take on 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup winners Japan in an international friendly match on the 6th of October 2022 at the Novio Stadium. The Falcons are presently in Abuja camp ahead of 2022 African Cup of Nations slated for July in Morocco. In another news, World Football Governing Body FIFA and World Athletics experience any part of male puberty beyond stage 2 or before age 12. In tennis, Serena Williams is set to return to competitive play after a year out of tennis, when she plays on Tuesday at the Eastbourne Doubles with 23 singles and 14 women's doubles titles at the Grand Slam events. Serena has not competed since she was injured at Wimbledon last year. With sports updates, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
The death has occurred of Chief Ike Joseph Chinwoba, aged 67. The late barrister Chinwoba is to be buried on the 24th of this month at Aguleri in Anambra East local government area after a requiem mass at St. Joseph's Pro-Cathedral Catholic Church by 10 a.m. Interment will follow at his residence. The late Chief Ike Chinwoba is survived by his wife, Viera Chinwoba, Assistant Director, News of NTA, 3 children, and a stepmother. And that concludes NTA Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. And here's a quick reminder that rape is a crime. Speak up and take action. I'm Ian Ray John. Have a good night.